way to think about the great Dave Davies is like he's a punkier George Harrison, as in, no, he was not the primary songwriter of the band, but his contributions were integral to the sound and the legacy of the music. Today we're going to talk about Dave's role in the quintessential Kinks records from 1966 to 1971, which is when the band really carved out its niche in pop culture legend. And yeah, we're going to do a crash course in what techniques of his we may want to employ in our own music. This video is sponsored by Truefire.com, the largest online library of interactive music lessons with over 87,000 lessons taught by legendary players. And also folks like me, Truefire is where I put all my explorations of the cage thing, double stops, fingerstyle, and more. I make several courses a year. And here's a cool thing about Truefire. If you can't decide on what course you might want to download, you can get their all-access pass, which lets you stream any of their courses, and you still get the on-screen tabs and backing tracks to play along with, plus an extra 25% off downloads. Personally, I like to use that as like an interview library because they have so many legends on there. Want to spend an afternoon with G.E. Smith, Jimmy Vivino, Jim Campolongo? They're all there. Check the description box below for the link to get 1 year of all access. I hope to see you there. By the way, tabs and backing tracks for this lesson are available a la carte on my website or through Patreon membership. And the guitar lesson for all the licks I played today, well, that's going to be just a little bit later in the video. I talked about this a little bit last week, but in 1964, the Kinks were almost as popular as the Beatles and the Stones. They had a solid run of top 10 hits with You Really Got Me, All Day and All of the Night, and Tired of Waiting for You. So the next logical step would be to tour the US, and the Kinks did in 1965. It did not go well. Briefly, here's the deal. Bad organization, bad promotion, which led to low turnout and low ticket sales, which then was compounded by infighting in the band, and this all came to a head when the Kinks were supposed to appear on Dick Clark's American Bandstand. Ray Davies got into an altercation with a rude union official backstage and punched him, which led to a 4-year ban on performing in the US. So while all the other British acts were touring the US and getting a lot of airplay, the Kinks were left behind. Cool thing is, as a result of losing that opportunity for, cross-Atlantic megastardom, they doubled down on their Britishness and created this run of records that stands apart from anything or anyone else. Face to Face is the first record they recorded after that 1965 US tour. Now this one, there's not specific Dave Davies stuff I want to point to with it, but I will say this: great songs, great tone, great playing. Something Else is the record that I think really starts the run. Ray Davies starts to take over production from Shel Talmy, and it really shows. We also have another iconic Dave Davies hook in Waterloo Sunset. Whereas the earlier riffs were moving power chords, kind of precursors to punk rock, Waterloo Sunset quotes the vocal melody, which is a sing-songy major pentatonic figure. We're going to see that again and again through all the next records. It should be noted that we also start to hear some of Dave's voice and his songs on this record, which, like his guitar playing, is the perfect foil for his brother. Village Green Preservation Society, that's the one. At this point, it's 1968. Ray had completely taken over production from Shel Talmy, and his vision is 100% realized. One of the cool things about this record is that while everybody else was like kind of doing the Sgt. Pepper's kind of psychedelic thing, the Kinks just couldn't be bothered. I mean, the closest they got was Wicked Annabella, which coincidentally enough, that's one that's sung by Dave. This is the record I usually tell people to start with. Like, if you only knew the early hits, like, yeah, Village Green, and then go in either direction, forward or back. So cool. The whole first half of Arthur is really great, and we hear the return of, like, the Dave Davies riffing, and now the tone is fatter. I'm all for it. For some reason, this one is my personal favorite. Great songs, great riffs, and we have just the heart-wrenching Dave Davies ballad of Strangers, which is sort of, to, continue the George Harrison analogy, is sort of his something moment. This one did get them back on the charts with Lola, which was a hit in the States more so than the UK, and it features that iconic major pentatonic Dave Davies guitar hook, kinda a beefed up Waterloo Sunset thing. I feel like Muswell Hillbillies kind of ends the great run of records. I'd rank this one maybe alongside Arthur, but it has like that fatter sound that they developed on Lola versus Powerman. Dave doesn't take too many solos, so it's fun to hear him take some major pentatonic leads on Have a Cup of Tea. Alright, let's steal some licks. I borrowed this Epiphone Flying V from Rick Miller, so thanks for that, Rick. This thing is real fun to play. And yep, those are P94 pickups in it, humbucker size P90s. Going into the Dusky D2O, which kind of shares some DNA with a Vox AC30, but also some DNA of a Ampeg B15. I am using a Weber Mass 200 attenuator. Going into a Mojotone cabinet, which I have hooked up with just one Jensen Mod 50. I really like those speakers. They're cheap, and they always sound good. It's kind of their, it does the British thing, it does the American thing, it's their all-purpose speaker. The first thing to think about is the pick attack. So sometimes, and we'll see this, as we get into the proper tab, Dave is more on the front edge of the pick. Like in Sunny Afternoon. I think you can see that. Hold on, hold on. Zoom in. So instead of like this, a little more like that. Or though, other times, he actually kind of pops from behind the string. Again, let's look at this hand. So flat and then a little more like that. And that's, that stuff matters to how it comes out. Which then brings us to the second thing, slides or hammer-ons. Again, we're going to see more of this stuff as we get into the actual walkthroughs, but yeah, that's just two little articulation things to think about. And then I think a big deal, if you don't know this already, is the diagonal major pentatonic. So say you got a G chord. Because there's so much, like I used to call that the Ronnie Wood scale. Because there's all these double stops in there and all those little, we're going to see more of these as we get into how to play those licks, but yeah. So just know that anytime you have a chord that looks like this, you can go. Now, similarly, that's based off of, a chord that's on the low E string. Say you had an E chord here, which, Lola and Waterloo Sunset. Then we have it, you may have seen this in Hendrix, but yeah. Again, you got all these double stops. Now, if I want, let's see, could I do a big one? Nah, that one's not useful. And like he doesn't go like all the way across all 6 strings. He just uses what's near the chord. And the only other thing that I've noticed with these hooks and these leads is the double stop 6. I have videos about this, but let's go back to a G chord. Again, a lot of you know this, but maybe you don't. You can always take these two here, and then you have things like this. We've seen those in Soul Man. And the same thing, if you have this chord shape. So those are the couple of things that he uses, simple things, but good tone, good technique, good ideas, and great songs, and it all comes together in a really cool way. Let's go in chronological order. Here's Sunny Afternoon. It's a walk down from D minor. Again, instead of flat with the pick, it sounds to me, neck pickup, by the way. And it's not palm muted. It's tempting to be like, no, it's open. Which is really like a walk down on D minor. And then this is off of an A7. If you want to know the chords for the verse, it's D minor, and then a C7, and then an F, and then a C7, and then walk down across an A7. Yeah, great changes in that one. Let's move on though to Waterloo Sunset. So we start there with this start is palm muted, and it's the gallop. Which is tricky, you know, to get that picking right here. Let's look at this hand a little closer. So down, down, up, down, down, up, down. So. And then let's do no articulation. E, because the changes are E, B, A. So on the E. Now with the articulation and with popping from behind the string. Same thing here. And then no articulation actually on this lick. Then if you want to know what it does through the verse, you know, it's the same three chords. He doesn't do anything. And then he does a little. And then as it comes around again. So cool. I'll have to do a whole separate video on Waterloo Sunset. Also, though, yeah, did I say neck pickup? It's neck pickup. Village Green Preservation Society also has that very simple, because the chord changes, I think, is we are the Village Green Preservation Society. You know, that's a C, G over B, F to a C. So just key a C. There's that little thing again. So I really think one of the things to take away from this, if you want a catchy little guitar hook, major pentatonic. Brainwashed does sound like bridge position pickup, but I don't know, just for teaching, I'm going to stay in neck just because it's like, it's chiller sounding. So it's G blues stuff, you know. Big old power chords here. I guess you could do full bars. And then, you know, it's just good blues playing. I will point this out, that the note goes there. That's a classic rock thing. We all learn the blues scale as this. No one does that. They go. You just really never see someone do that. But that's the first lick, and then it goes higher. Yeah, he did. If you listen real close, he does one of those like Robbie Krieger things. And then this is actually, yeah, this is one of those times we don't think of Dave as being like a slick blues player, but there's this lick hiding in here. That's cool, yo. And then, yeah, then another, yeah, cool blues lick there. And then, yeah, I'm kind of doing it a little different than he did, but he definitely did on the record, it's you know, on that C chord there, I think I just let it hang. Oh well. And then, yeah, I just did another, Let's see if I can get that. And then there's that. Freaking great song. So, Lola drops in with C, 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 D, and he actually just hits root notes. He doesn't actually hit anything on the downbeat, but sure, you can hit an E if you want, because it is going to be an E. And then we have, similar to Waterloo Sunset, but a little more, popping from behind the string. It's an E chord. And then a little. That lick slowly, major pentatonic again. If you want to go through the verse, sure, something with an E here, and then there are going to be some of those harmonized sixths is there. A chord. There's a passing D, and he does a A chord. Goes around again, and then, yeah, you're back at the... I drop in with Powerman has those harmonized sixths again. So the chord is G, G, D, 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 D. So G chord way up here. So it's actually like kind of coming down from it. There's a D chord here, so it does the same thing. Which does point to an interesting thing. Like, a lot of times people learn these as just like, well, okay, we'll do this one. But you get a lot more mileage by playing them one note at a time and putting slides between them. And then where's it coming from? Yeah. And then we're back at the riff, which is, a cool droney A thing. Now, I landed on my pinky because there's going to be like this thing here, so I'm using index and pinky. Yeah. Boom. So. Kind of metal. Anyway. But then it does that twice and switches to. Now to get to this cool walk down, which is like an A power chord over a G, you had to leave one out. D over F sharp. F. And then the thing again. And then would pivot to. I will also point out there's one crazy weird thing in like the chorus of this. There's a bar of 3 where it's like. It like cuts the riff off to get to the D chord, and that would really mess you up if you were trying to cover this song, just so you know. So we drop in there with a, and you get that little double stop there. And then we got some good like country guitar playing. Let's look at that one more time. I love that. That timing is fun. And then kind of response or call and response kind of thing. Because it goes to a C chord there. So that second lick, back to a G, and this is kind of funny. There's sort of a mistake here, but it actually works out really well. There's a little open there. He does that, yeah. And then kind of like a blues walk down, because it's going to do a, like there's a drum fill there on the D7. And anyway. Hybrid picked. That's so playful and fun. Now the song is stuck in your head for the rest of the day. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. It costs you nothing and helps me out a lot when people do that. One more time around how my business works. Patreon is where there's every backing track I've ever made, live Q&A seminars, and more. And I also make courses. You could check it all out on my website. As Bill and Ted would say, be excellent to each other. That includes yourself. See you next week.